Aquarius workshop, emotional maturity. I start with some quotes from Pathwork Lecture 49 with the title Obstacles on the Path. Emotional maturity is foremost the ability to love, the capacity to love. Emotional maturity knows no selfishness. Emotional maturity means not to be afraid of paying the price of living. Emotional maturity means not to be afraid of one's own emotions. Emotional maturity means to be able to make a complete decision inwardly and know that you cannot have both ways, both advantages. No one can be truly a man or a woman who doesn't have this emotional maturity. End of quotes from Pathwork Lecture 49. Subconsciously, by remaining an emotionally dependent child, we hope to be happy and escape the struggles of life and the drawbacks of adulthood. However, we are blind to the harmful effects, such as fear for life, of this extended childhood, where we subconsciously demand to be cared for and loved. Very subtly, we expect God to live this life for us, make decisions, and provide the desired results. We refuse to become a free, mature human being. It is important to detect, understand, and resolve these hidden distortions to become emotionally mature, strong, and happy. This desire to remain an emotionally dependent child produces chain reactions and side effects and is expressed in two different ways. On the one hand, we are submissive, and on the other hand, we rebel against authority. Collectively, we have strong resistance to the necessary period of growth to reach emotional maturity. We have less resistance about the mental growth period to adulthood. We accept that we go through transitions, through trial and error, and have to make mistakes in order to grow our spiritual abilities. But we consider the growth period to emotional maturity as dangerous. We suppress this inner growth, which prevents emotions from becoming constructive and mature. This temporary growth process with the accompanying growing pains cannot be skipped and will still have to happen if we want to develop into an Aquarius man. When we are emotionally mature, we move relaxed with life because we trust life completely. We realize that we have created all our experiences ourselves and are in reality masters of our destiny. We trust the kindness and justice of the universe, and we realize that we have nothing to fear. For mistakes, bad luck, or coincidences are excluded. When we are emotionally mature and live in reality, then we are free from fear to love. The other then feels our respectful attitude, the freedom to be themselves, and the freedom to love us or not. In this workshop you will explore with a loving curiosity 3 fundamental themes of the Pathwork Lectures regarding emotional maturity. The first theme: exploring fear of love. There is a resistance to love deep down in everyone. On closer examination, we shall come to the important discovery that this resistance is caused by fear of love. Inwardly, we can observe the following contradiction. On the one hand, we fear love, of loving, of giving and receiving equally, and on the other hand, we crave love. Emotionally mature people have the capacity to truly love. Mature love means loving someone unconditionally, just as they are, regardless of their shortcomings. The next quote stems from Pathwork Lecture 71. To live in the comparative reality accessible to you as long as you are an incarnated human being depends on your maturity, mental as well as emotional. Maturity, in turn, depends on your capacity and willingness to love. The more the personality is afraid of love, unwilling and thus incapable of loving, the more he lives in unreality or illusion. End of quote from Pathwork Lecture 71. The second theme, living in total surrender to the time flow. As we believe in ourselves and are true to ourselves, we trust ourselves, life, the loving universal forces, and the just spiritual laws. It is an illusion to believe that life is separate from us. The more we experience that we can deal with setbacks and frustrations and let go of our demands when necessary, the less life will make us anxious and suspicious. With this positive attitude to life, which is a step towards emotional maturity and unification, towards inner peace and towards mastery, we live in total surrender to the life flow, the time flow. The next quote stems from Pathwork Lecture 114. Ask yourselves if you are afraid of certain happenings in life. Are you not doubtful of your strength and resourcefulness to go through with it? Tackle it from here. The doubt in your own resources has to do with your childish insistence of having to have your way, of your inability to relinquish, to stand not having your way. The more you must have, the more will you be in fear, and the more will you struggle against the knowledge of this fear and the knowledge of this childish insistence. The emotional maturity we seek to attain is the ability to tolerate frustration that everything does not always go one's own way. That will enable you to finally master yourself and life because you float with the wave instead of stemming against it. That alone will furnish you with self-confidence. End of quote from Pathwork Lecture 114. The third and last theme. Pleasure is emotional maturity. The emotional mature human being aims to enjoy himself, others and life. Pleasure is only possible with a mental and emotional state of trust, patient waiting, receptivity without fear, haste or worry. Pleasure is only possible in love, and love is only possible in freedom when we consider ourselves as independent being and bear self-responsibility. The unconscious intense fear of pleasure disappears as we purify ourselves and therefore experience more relaxation and feel less threatened by life. The last quote stems from Pathwork Lecture 177. When you love and are a sexual being, you are also a spiritual being. This means that you have emotional and mental integrity. Therefore, pleasure and spirituality, pleasure and decency, pleasure and emotional maturity, pleasure and physical health are intricately and intimately connected. End of quote from Pathwork Lecture 177. I wish you peace and all the best. Thank you.